Welcome, it's Tom Martin, and in our continuing series on creativity, we have a great guest for us today, Alain Merville, who is the CEO and founder of YousicPlay, YousicPlay.com, which is an amazing new online music education program platform. And Alain is also a professor of music at the esteemed Berklee School of Music in Boston. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
That's great. No, I'm excited about this. We've had a few conversations in recent weeks about YousicPlay, and I love what you've created, and I think the world really needs to know about this. So what is YousicPlay?
Yeah, so YousicPlay is a music e-learning platform which allows musicians and really music enthusiasts to learn music from their favorite celebrity musicians. You can also learn any instrument at a beginner, intermediate, and advanced level, as well as communicate with the users on that platform through our community platform. And for our courses and just our platform in general, what we try to do is provide the education in a fun and high quality way with all of the visuals are, cinematic quality, but filled with actual content, curriculum. Our master classes come with a curriculum with an audio practice guide for step-by-step learning purposes, as well as a course book. So it's a mixture of fun, high-quality visuals, but also you leave learning and with step-by-step practical exercises for you to grow and get better at your instrument.
Fantastic. I can see the appeal and how this will really help so many people. How did you first come up with this idea?
Yeah, so it's interesting because the idea came from when I started giving online piano lessons a few years ago, maybe about 4 years ago. And I just noticed that a lot of my students were asking me similar questions. And instead of, just answering the same questions over and over again, I decided to just create a course of me answering those questions within the course. So once my students received that course, and of course there was a few people and different platform founders that I connected with to try to promote the course as well, but we got great feedback from it. And from that moment, the idea struck me, why don't I create more courses? Obviously, if people are engaging with it, people are enjoying it and learning from it. And then I would say a few months after that, I stumbled across a promo video for Masterclass. What they're all about is online masterclasses with celebrity leaders in different industries, whether it's basketball, chef, and cooking and acting. And so I said to myself, why don't I do a similar model or similar idea, but just focusing on the music industry? Because we watch musicians from afar, we admire what they do, but we have little to no frame of reference for how they actually became successful. And there is no course book, there is no method book. That's just a general method book that everyone can follow to be successful in a specific field. And so hearing it from someone who's actually been successful, hearing what they've had to do, what they've had to encounter, how they practice, how they arrange music, whatever it is, whatever their level of expertise is, learning exactly from them how they were able to attain that knowledge. That was really the genesis and the idea behind YousicPlay, and that's how we got started.
Fantastic. I know that I was going to say recent years, but it's probably even more in recent months, people have really embraced online learning. I mean, a lot of us who are very comfortable with technology, Zoom and Skype and so on, have made use of great online courses, maybe in business and stuff like that, maybe a master class, like you said, with celebrity instructors. But for me, music seems to always have that, like the idea of the piano teacher coming to the door, coming into the home, but it sounds like with YousicPlay, students really have access to world-class instructors, not just like the piano teacher who goes on the block. What are some of the advantages that you found, and what people have commented, your students have commented, as far as why they like the online platform like this?
Yeah, well, the immediate advantage is that you get to learn from the convenience of your home or from wherever you are at your own pace. And everyone learns differently. It's learning in the moment with an instructor there is very different than being able to receive that same content, but go at your own pace. But also, with the celebrity aspect of it, there's no other way to have a one-on-one lesson or one-on-one engagement with your celebrity, with your favorite celebrity musician. Just because they're recording, they're in the studio, they're on a gig, they're touring. So this is probably the only way that you're going to be able to dive into their head, where they're going to be able to, sit down and actually break down how they practice, who they listen to, who inspired them, how they were able to take those inspirations and ultimately create their own voice and their own approach to what they do. That's been the most beneficial aspect of it to the students who've taken it so far. It's just the fact that they're able to see their favorite musician in this facet, and them being so articulate in explaining what they do, coupled with all the resources. Because, one thing to consider is not every major musician is a natural born educator. And so, we try to obviously have musicians who are able to articulate what they do, but coupled with the video lessons, there's a curriculum model. There's also audio practice guides, and there's the course book. So we fill the course with a lot of supplemental content to really make sure that you're able to actually retain what it is that you're learning through the video courses.
Mm-hmm. And one aspect of this that I like, I saw a PowerPoint presentation you put together to educate people about what you've created, and the community component is really unique. What inspired you to come up with the idea to make it a community, not just a one-way sort of thing with a celebrity instructor like masterclass or something like that?
Yeah, great question. So the idea behind that came, well, firstly, I'm very much so embedded in the music community. Being that I teach at Berkeley, I get to interact with different students. I also was the director of operations at a company called Sugar Babies Inc. And prior to that, I was the CEO and founder of a company called Nate Bash Band, which did the same thing, which was provide live and music entertainment for corporate events, for weddings, things of that nature. And then I've gotten a chance to work with some of the industry musicians as well. So I've been able to function and work with musicians at different stages. And everyone says the same thing in regards to being able to network and connect with like-minded musicians. It's either they're not able to find the type of musicians that they want to connect with, or musicians are always gigging, or musicians typically have a certain clique and they don't network outside of that clique. There's a variety of reasons why musicians, for whatever reason, aren't able to connect. And so the idea of having a community of like-minded musicians where once you're a user, you're able to, post your videos, post your images. You're able to direct message the other users. You're able to search for musicians and users by instruments. Just creating that place, that hub, where musicians who are passionate about growing, passionate about learning, can all come to one place and network with each other. That's really what brought that idea. We just wanted to provide a space for musicians to do just that.
Excellent. I like that word, passionate, and I would imagine that when it comes to learning, especially when it's not uses our creative side of the brain, passion enhances the learning and makes people grow and develop and really just enjoy the process, I'm sure. And also, I've seen some of the video modules of the instructors and some of your promotional videos. I know what you mean about the cinematic quality. It's amazing, beautiful quality. And just the instructors I've seen are very charismatic, and passionate. That's why I like how you use that word. Tell us about some of your instructors, who's available now, and what plans you have for the near future.
Yeah, so currently we have our first instructor was Myron Butler, who's a Grammy Award-winning gospel vocalist. He's multiple things. He's a vocalist, pianist, organist, arranger. He's a very well-respected, accomplished gospel artist. And his course is about gospel singing. It's also about voice control, but more so about how to be a leader from a vocalist standpoint, how to approach recording in a studio, how to lead or direct the stage with your body and not have to revert to, saying this section is coming up. So really just body control and controlling the moment. We also have Robert Spud Seawright, who's a 6-time Grammy Award-winning musician. He's a drummer. He's a drummer, keyboardist, but his course focuses with him on drums. He's won Grammys with Snarky Puppy. He's won Grammys in the gospel realm, as well as the hip hop realm as well with Kendrick Lamar. And his course, the focus is drums, funk and fusion, but musicality, how to be musical behind the drums. The drums is not, considered as a melodic instrument, but if it's tuned the right way, you can play certain pitches on the drums. But his specialty is being able to see music from a grid and being able to see where everything is, and being able to lead a band from behind the drum set. And then we also have our instructor that his course is actually coming out this Saturday, June 6th, Jesus Molina, who is by far one of the most skilled pianists in the world. His course is about jazz piano and improvisation. He's like a young, reincarnated Oscar Peterson. He's able to facilitate around the instrument like crazy. And his course is really just about learning how to play with freedom, acquiring the techniques needed to articulate and execute the ideas that come to you, the musical ideas, and also learning how to play without being overwhelmed with stress and just really having fun. So there's a lot of steps to getting to that point, but the ultimate goal is to make you a better pianist, but also have fun with playing the piano. We have our upcoming courses. We have Andrew Boucher, who's considered the godfather of gospel bass. We're segueing into more hip hop courses, as well as Latin pop vocalists and artists. So we have a lot of different things in mind: production, music business. So got a lot of things coming up.
Fantastic. And what have your instructors told you about their experience, recording the sessions and working with you and your team?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun. It's always great. We try to make it very easy for them. Process is we come up with the curriculum, and the curriculum is always based off of things that they're already an expert at. So they don't have to learn anything new. It's just, here's what you're already good at, and here's how I want to approach it. I want to focus on your inspirations, technique, and all that stuff. So that stuff is easy. And of course, we take care of all their accommodations, travel, food. Every time an instructor comes on set, they're always blown away by what the set looks like. They're always, there's just a bunch of cameras, there's a bunch of lights, there's a bunch of crew members. And so, it makes you feel good that all of this is for you. And, and one important thing about our team is we have video experts as well as audio experts on the team as well. Our audio engineer, Charles Haynes, he's, produced film scores for documentaries on Netflix, TV shows. He himself has won Grammys. And so we take the audio aspect very seriously, as musicians overall do. So they appreciate that. And then from the video aspect of it, we work with an agency based out of Connecticut called 7 Avenue. and they're just blown away by what the visual aspect looks like as well, and the whole storyline behind the promos and how everything is constructed. So they feel good about it, so then we feel good about it.
Fantastic. I know when we were speaking recently, you were telling me about the storytelling aspect. It's not just lesson after lesson after lesson. It's the stories are very inspiring too, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I try to put myself in the position of a student. And if I wanted to learn from my favorite musician, I don't just want to hear scales. I don't just want to hear chords. I want to get to know you as a person throughout this series. And so we have our instructors tell different stories that correlate with what they're teaching. Like one of our instructors, his name is Spanky. He's played for Lady Gaga, Kanye West, Lauryn Hill, big names. And in one of the lessons, he's talking about ghost notes. And of course, ghost notes on drums is, it provides like a funky kind of feel. But then when he did his first gig with the Backstreet Boys, his snare drum was triggered, which means that when you play it, it triggers certain sound effects. And when he played ghost notes, well, first of all, you're not supposed to play ghost notes on a pop song. That's all kind of funk stuff. But, he shares a story of him playing that by accident just because he internalized that on that gig, and his snare drum was triggered and it was making a bunch of crazy sound effects. But the point is, he's talking about ghost notes. He's teaching you how to do it. And then he's telling you a specific story of how he learned for like the first time, like, okay, ghost notes are not for this genre. Ghost notes are used for, so it's super practical. And what we try to do is give the student a chance to, understand the mechanics of what the instructor does, but also understand them as a person as well.
Excellent. No, I love that. That's a great example. Who is your ideal student? Can you kind of walk us through the process? Who might come to the YousicPlay platform and say, wow, I can see that this is for me. And then how would they engage with the lessons, and how would they develop as a student?
Yeah. So the ideal student, it's there's some variety there, because for the masterclass series, you have to ideally you'd first be a fan of that expert, of that celebrity, because the masterclass is really centered around that instructor. And really getting to know how that instructor not became famous, but became so skilled at what they do. So for the masterclass series, it's really music enthusiasts, of course, as well as music students who want to become at a master level. One thing about us is we're not genre specific. So it can be famous rock artist or a drummer, as well as jazz and just a bunch of different genres. But for the academy courses, that's for more musicians or students seeking to be better at music. And that's where we have the beginner, intermediate, and advanced level courses. So you can pick up the guitar today and jump right into the beginner course. You can have played guitar for a year, 2 years, but your technique isn't really great. So you might want to jump in the intermediate, or you're a pretty solid guitar player. So you may want to jump in the advanced. There's different levels and there's different interests based on what you're interested in. I mean, you may be a teenager or you may be a retired adult, so it's the spectrum for who this would be for and who would be interested in something like this is pretty vast.
Love it. Love it. Cool. And so I guess just in closing, I'd love to hear from you why you love music. I mean, you've made this your life, as a Berklee instructor. I'm sure you got started at an early age and all that, and now you're sharing that passion. Again, it goes back to that word passion. But what do people get out of really focusing on music and learning and growing and experiencing what you're sharing with everybody?
Yeah, well, that's a big question. Well, surprisingly, I I didn't really start playing music at a young age. My first piano lesson, my first introduction really to music learning, I was 14. So I don't come from a musical family, and it wasn't even my idea. My dad just said, "You're gonna start learning piano tomorrow," and it just happened. And I took a lesson for 1 year, and I fell in love with it. And then I went off to study in college, and then, then everything kind of happened from there. But music for me, and what I've seen for others, is it's life changing. Music for me changes the way that I perceive life. It's been a means of expression. It's been if music affects your mood and affects the way that you feel, which is why when you're sad, you put on slow music or sad music. When you're trying to get a romantic setting, you put on romantic music. When athletes are about to, go into a big game, or when you're about to work out, you put on music to stimulate you emotionally. So music has that effect on people. And so just being able to express yourself in a different way or in that way is just life changing. Music is also a profession. And so musicians who do this professionally want to get better. You're hungry for growth. You're hungry to figure out how this elite musician did what they did. So music can be so many different things for so many different people, but the underlining thing that it is for everyone is that it's life-changing.
Beautiful. No, I love that. So we can't leave, of course, without asking you how people learn more about YousicPlay.
Yeah, you can learn more about YousicPlay by going to YousicPlay.com. That's YousicPlay.com. You can also visit us on Instagram at our hashtag is YousicPlay, as well as Facebook. We're on LinkedIn and Twitter.
Fantastic. Well, I love what you've created, and wish you a lot of success with that. Thanks for talking with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Tom.